Hello, this is Azrael. Thank you for tuning into my channel. And in this video, we are going to be talking about the some of the actual science and some of the theory of magic and why it should work and how you construct a magic ritual. Okay, now a magic ritual usually has four things. It can be arguably separated into four things: mental and emotional intent. This is magic. Period. If you don't have this, you could have little to nothing of the other stuff, but you have to have mental and emotional intent. Then there's the raising of energy, which you will then be directing it with your thoughts and emotions. The symbolic act, which is the mixture of the actual ritual itself, such as the candles. Candles are raising the energy, but are employing a sympathetic connection, the sympathetic act. So, like for example, your candles and your incense, and you are adding all the energy to drum up the energy, and you are going to be using, pink candles for love, green for money, yada yada yada. Okay, so and then the ritual, you might have image candles, and you'll bring them together. Two pink image candles, and bring them together to a red candle in the middle to signify you and the two parties coming together to be passionate. And you'll have, a red candle, and it's all symbolic. It's drumming up energy, and it is being symbolic. So you have those three things, and then of course the fourth. It's called the magical link, something that links the sympathetic action with the drumming up of the energy to the target. And of course, the magical link would be something like someone's hair, one of their belongings. If you're trying to uh, cast a love spell on somebody, which you should not be doing, by the way, that you should be casting spells for new love to come into your life, or if you're already in a relationship, you can probably cast a spell for passion. But if you're trying to grab that love, that's kind of working your will on them. It could be arguably a form of black magic, but that's a different video. Anyway, so you have the drumming up of the energy, thought and intent, the sympathetic representation, and then the magical link, which uh, is usually is again, it's still a form of sympathetic magic. But it's more personal. So you have the sympathetic action, which is the ritual, and that's tying that sympathetic action to the target, either directly, well, sympathetically using something that belongs to that target. If you're wanting to raise business for your business, your magical link could be some dirt from outside of your business, or it could be the business card. But that's the magical link that ties the ritual and the energy onto the target, which is the basic construction of a ritual. Now, why does this work? Well, scientifically, um, everything vibrates. Everything is energy. Uh, Witches have known this forever. Or they just didn't have it, might not have had a name for it. Science has finally proven that everything vibrates. It doesn't matter if it's this mouse or if it's you. You're all made of matter. You're all made of energy, and everything vibrates, and everything is constantly in motion, even if it's not moving. Okay, so the universe is constantly vibrating. It's constantly energy. Now it's a sliding scale. Okay, so for example, uh, let's say love vibrates at a level of 10, you know, and you have a rose quartz and a rose. We associate that with love because the vibrations are similar or close enough. So maybe the rose quartz might be vibrating at 8 or 9, close to 10, or it could be vibrating on the same frequency, which basically, when things vibrate and resonate at the same frequency, it adds energy easier than it does than, say, something lower. Uh, Let's say we're trying to cast love, and we're using a black onyx. You can still use it for love, but it might physically vibrate at a certain level and might slow down the vibrations. So there's a science. Yes, it is all, for the most part, mostly how you feel and how you resonate with an object. But thousands and thousands of years of people practicing magic can't be wrong when they say that certain things in themselves have occult properties separate from you. Uh, when you die, the universe will still vibrate. Before your great 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 grandchildren are born, it will vibrate. These vibrations existed before us, uh, in spite of us. Okay, we just our brains made the connections. Now, that being said, the what is the language of the universe? Vibration. So that's why a lot of people, a lot of religions, like in ceremonial magic, will vibrate some of the names of God. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, Adonai, Eretz, whatever, and this is found in other religions where they vibrate uh, gods or words of power because they knew somehow it was on vibration. So the universe, the language of the universe is pure vibration. And my wife would also suggest, that's pre-Christian, pre almost every other religion. It's the oldest religion still practiced, Hindus, and they have that vibration. Again, all this stuff was known before science proved that the universe vibrates, and everything vibrates at a different level. So again, your emotions are the language of the universe. So yeah, your words have power. They do because they vibrate in their sound, and you put your emotions. But words are more like cups that hold your emotional intent to something. So I'm going to talk about something like, say, with voodoo, or Pentecostal holiness Christians who speak in tongues, and voodoo, they'll get caught up with the spirit, and they'll be saying things that might not sound like anything because it might sound like gibberish, or they might be speaking in another language. I saw a voodoo practitioner go into a trance and when start saying weird off the wall words that make no sense because it's pure emotion. It's pure emotion coming out, just like the Pentecostal holiness people who speak in tongues, though they're Christians. Their emotions, they vibrate so much that there's no words to contain them, and the brain registers that, and therefore these words of gibberish might be more powerful than actual words in some situations because our consciousness knows that words have a defined definition, and if your emotions go past that definition, it might hinder it because you're saying no. It's you have a pre-constructed idea of what this word means, and you basically have no words could carry your meaning. So the brain registers and says gibberish, and these have no defined words, so it's pure emotion, which is the language of the universe. So it also means that in the end, it doesn't matter if you say the word incorrect. For example, the fact that your emotions and your mind knows what you're talking about, that's still more important than actually saying the pronunciation of a magic word, for example. Um, Now, again, scientists, they did a study, and they had a group of people do play the piano, and had people pretend to play the piano, visualize it up here, and of course they both improved their success. Okay, over a longer period of time, the people who pretended to play the piano caught up slower, but the brain. What I'm trying to get at is that the it's still pretending or visualizing it still made these connections. So they were able to play it like they've been physically doing it. Now, what's more interesting is that they did that same concept, but had a group of people doing this with their fist, and they're making a fist, making a hand, and then you had people just visualizing it. Now, what's interesting is that the people, yes, that were doing this. Now, this isn't interesting, but yeah, their muscles got stronger. Their strength increased in their hand by like 30 something percent. Okay, but the people who visualized it, they didn't do it. They didn't do the exercises, but because they visualized it for several weeks, they still showed a 22% increase, which proves that the body follows the mind. So visualization is very important. So these people made their hands stronger just by weeks of visualizing doing this. Again, obviously doing this more physically made more of a physical response, but that's not the point. The whole point that I'm making is that the mind controls your reality to some extent, especially your physical body. And when we speak on a level of magic, okay, when you cast a spell, you're sending out pure vibrations, and the universe is vibrating. And then when you start getting into the concepts of quantum physics, where they say that your mind actually helps control or make an outcome of a quantum particle, and you're made of quantum particles, and when you bind something together, like in a ritual, uh, with quantum entanglement, what you do with one particle, if it's entangled to another particle light years away, it it reacts instantly. Now they don't understand how it can go fast. This information goes faster than the speed of light, because nothing goes faster than the speed of light. But the concept is similar. When these two particles become entangled, when you perform when a change happens on one particle, it affects the other one from a distance, which basically leads the question. So when a witch does a binding spell and says, okay, uh, John Doe is bound to this green poppet. This is John Doe, and you perform healing magic on it. The particles that are in there, in theory, if they're bound that to John, then what happens to the poppet happens to John. And again, even though this is science, it's not magic. Um, this doesn't prove that magic exists. Okay, this is a what science says can happen when two particles become entangled. I'm just saying that the it helps vindicate some of the logic that magicians had and witches have had for beyond centuries. So how magic works, it's natural magic, and if it works the way we claim it does, it happens within a natural phenomenon. So they might not ever find, hey, there's the magic particle, because our magic materializes through natural means. I mean, we might not be doing natural means like, oh well, we're doing a ritual over here, and it's not the same thing as going to the doctor and getting a healing. But on some level, our thoughts create reality. It affects quantum particles. So when you mix it all together, that's basically how science and magic helps open a window for uh, action at a distance and bindings. It's all the quantum particles are entangled. I mean, again, there's no scientific proof that when you pray over something or cast a spell over something that both particles get entangled, but it doesn't close it to make it an absolute no either, because particles are also in more than one place at one time. Quite literally, the particles that are uh, in my hand are can be in multiple places at the same time. That doesn't necessarily mean that I will bilocate to those places, but parts of me on a quantum level, it doesn't work like the same physics. So if this is a form of what I'm also trying to add to it, is a form of pagan apologetics, having people explain what they believe in a more traditional. Well, it's not science, but it's easier to pull the meaning of what we're trying uh, to teach as practitioners, and have some kind of way of scientifically making it possible. So again, this is just a little bit of a rant, a little bit of a how you construct a ritual. Make sure that you have the sympathetic act. You're raising energy, thoughts, and emotions, directing the energy that you drum up towards the magical link. That's basically the basic construction of a ritual. So, anyways, thank you for listening to me ramble for about 14 minutes. Please like and subscribe, and take care.